The bright screens in the control room cast a blue glow over Dr. Olivia Wright's face as she leaned forward. It was just past midnight at the International Space Research Institute, and most of her colleagues had gone home hours ago. But sleep wasn't on Olivia's mind tonight. The signal they had detected 3 days ago was still coming in, stronger than ever. "Run the pattern analysis again, please," she said to her assistant, Paul Garcia, who nodded and tapped at his keyboard. The year was 2047. Humanity had established a small but thriving colony on Mars, and mining operations on several asteroids were providing Earth with resources once thought to be scarce. It was a time of expansion and discovery, but nothing had prepared them for this. The signal had first appeared as an anomaly in the Deep Space Monitoring Array. Unlike the random noise of cosmic radiation or the regular pulses of a pulsar, this signal contained distinct mathematical sequences, prime numbers, the value of pi, and finally, what appeared to be a simple binary greeting. "It's artificial," Olivia had told the emergency meeting of world leaders called within hours of confirmation, "and it's heading directly toward our solar system." Now, as the source of the signal approached Jupiter's orbit, telescopes across Earth and Mars were focused on the same point in space. The object was moving fast, but in a controlled manner that defied natural celestial mechanics. "Dr. Wright, you should see this," Paul said, pointing to his screen. The latest images from the Lunar Observatory showed a vessel unlike anything humans had imagined. It wasn't the sleek, disc-shaped craft of old science fiction, but rather an organic-looking structure with multiple extending sections, like branches of a metallic tree. Olivia felt her heart race. After years of searching the stars for signs of life, contact was no longer theoretical. It was approaching at 12,000 miles per hour. Within 48 hours, the alien vessel had established orbit around Earth's moon. Communications teams worked around the clock to establish a more direct line of contact. The vessel transmitted images and basic linguistic structures that computers slowly decoded into something resembling a greeting and request for face-to-face contact. The world held its breath as a smaller craft detached from the main vessel and descended toward the United Nations' newly built first contact facility in neutral Switzerland. Olivia stood with the welcoming committee, a carefully selected group of scientists, diplomats, and military personnel. The landing was silent, the craft touching down with barely a disturbance to the air around it. When the craft's door finally opened, Olivia's scientific mind struggled to process what she saw. The being that emerged stood on 2 legs, but had a distinctly reptilian appearance. Its scales shimmered with a greenish-blue iridescence under the facility's lights, and its vertical pupils widened as they adjusted to the environment. It wore what appeared to be a fitted uniform with various technological attachments. "I am Science Officer Scar of the Vekaran species," the alien said through a translation device at its throat. "I represent the Galactic Confederation, a union of 17 spacefaring species. We come in peace and with curiosity about your world." Despite the peaceful words, Olivia noticed the caution in the alien's movements. 2 more beings emerged behind Scar, their hands never far from devices on their belts. They maintained strict distance from the humans and insisted on atmospheric testing before removing their breathing apparatus. As the initial meeting progressed, Olivia was assigned as the scientific liaison with Scar. She couldn't help but notice how the alien studied her movements with intense focus, almost like a biologist observing the newly discovered species. "Your world is unusual," Scar said during a private conversation. "Most life-bearing planets we encounter show clear evolutionary patterns. Yours is different." "Different how?" Olivia asked. Scar's inner eyelids flickered, a gesture Olivia would later learn indicated deep thought or concern. "You evolved in ways that puzzle our xenobiologists. We are eager to learn more, but must proceed with appropriate protocols." The word protocols was said with an emphasis that struck Olivia as odd. It wasn't until later that evening, reviewing recordings of their interactions, that she realized something important. Despite their advanced technology and confident demeanor, The aliens seemed wary of humans in a way that went beyond normal caution with an unknown species. They were treating humans as something potentially dangerous. 6 months after the arrival of the Vekaran ship, Earth was still adjusting to the reality of alien contact. News channels ran constant updates about the Galactic Confederation. Schools added xenobiology to their science classes, and in a secure building in Geneva, a team of humans prepared for an unprecedented journey. Dr. Olivia Wright packed her bags with trembling hands. Tomorrow, she would leave Earth as part of the first human delegation to the Galactic Confederation's central hub. "Are you nervous?" asked Kevin Martinez, a NASA engineer who was also selected for the mission. He stood in the doorway of her quarters, his dark eyes curious. "Wouldn't you be?" Olivia replied. "We're about to see what thousands of scientists have only dreamed about." The delegation was small, just 4 humans chosen to represent Earth. Besides Olivia and Kevin, there was Alicia Ramirez, a skilled diplomat with experience in 3 Earth wars, and Captain Sam Daniels, a military liaison picked for both his calm temperament and exceptional physical abilities. They had been chosen carefully after weeks of tests and interviews by the Vekarans. Science Officer Scar had insisted on a small group for what he called safety reasons, though he never explained whose safety concerned him. The next morning, they boarded the Vekaran transport vessel. The interior was spacious but oddly arranged, with corridors that curved at unexpected angles and doors that opened with a thought. Their quarters were located in a separate section from the alien crew, with walls that seemed thicker than necessary. Kevin noticed it first. "These walls are reinforced," he whispered during their first meal together in their common area. "I checked the structure while installing our communication equipment. It's like we're in a containment unit." "Maybe it's for life support purposes," Alicia suggested, but her diplomatic smile didn't reach her eyes. Captain Daniels remained quiet, his gaze steady as he observed their surroundings. Later, he shared his thoughts with Olivia. "The crew watches us constantly, not with fear, exactly. More like scientists watching a potentially dangerous experiment." The journey to the central hub took 3 weeks by the Vekaran ship's faster-than-light travel system. During this time, the humans were allowed limited contact with the crew. Most interactions were formal and brief, though occasionally a curious crew member would ask questions about Earth. One junior science officer named Mila, from a species with fur-covered faces and large eyes, seemed genuinely interested in human culture. "Your species is unusual," she told Olivia during a shared meal. "Most new species require centuries of observation before invitation to the hub. Yours is being fast-tracked." "Why is that?" Olivia asked. "I'm not authorized to discuss classification protocols," Mila replied, suddenly formal. But later, as she was leaving, she added quietly, "The council is divided about humans. You should prepare for intense scrutiny." When they finally arrived at the central hub, the humans were stunned into silence. The structure was massive, an artificial world built in the space between 3 stars, harvesting energy from all of them. It housed representatives from all 17 Confederation species and served as the center of their combined scientific and political efforts. As they disembarked, they were greeted by a delegation of various alien species. At the front stood a tall, willowy being with pale blue skin and 4 arms. "I am Senior Scientist Selter," it said through a translation device similar to Scar's. "Welcome to the hub. Your quarters have been prepared according to your biological needs." As they followed Selter through massive hallways filled with aliens of all descriptions, Alicia nudged Olivia and pointed discreetly to the security personnel following them, far more than seemed necessary for 4 humans. They were led to a meeting room where several high-ranking Confederation officials waited. The mood was tense despite the formal welcomes. Selter gestured for them to sit at a specially designed table. "Before we proceed with diplomatic formalities," Selter said, "there is something you should understand. Your species has been classified as a potential apex species, a designation that carries certain implications within our community." "What does that mean?" Sam asked, his voice level despite the sudden increase in security presence around the room. Selter's four hands moved in a pattern that the translation device didn't interpret. It means that you are not simply guests here. You are also subjects of study. For the safety of all, we must understand how a species like yours evolved without natural predators shaping your development. The humans exchanged glances. This wasn't the welcome they had expected. The human delegation spent their first week at the central hub in a strange mix of diplomatic meetings and scientific examinations. Dr. Olivia Wright quickly realized they were not simply representatives of Earth. They were specimens under a microscope. Their living quarters were comfortable but clearly designed for observation. Hidden sensors tracked their movements, heart rates, and even their sleep patterns. Olivia noticed small cameras in every corner and air sampling devices that activated whenever they entered a room. "This isn't normal diplomatic protocol," Alicia said during their private evening meeting. The four humans had taken to gathering in Kevin's room each night to share observations. They swept for listening devices first, using equipment Kevin had cleverly modified from standard tools they were allowed to bring. "We're being studied," Olivia agreed. "This morning, I was asked to perform basic physical tasks while they monitored my responses. They seemed surprised by my grip strength and endurance." Captain Daniels nodded. "Same here. They had me run on a treadmill for an hour." The observers looked concerned when I barely broke a sweat. Kevin had spent most of his time with the hub's engineering teams, supposedly sharing information about human technology. "They're not interested in our tech," he said. "It's primitive compared to theirs. They're interested in how we think. They keep presenting me with problems to solve, watching how I approach them." Alicia had made the most progress in understanding their situation. As a diplomat, she had been granted limited access to the Confederation's species database for cultural background. "Most intelligent species here evolved as prey animals," she explained. "They developed intelligence as a defense against predators. The Vekerans were hunted by massive aerial predators. The Melans, like our friendly officer on the ship, evolved hiding in underground burrows." "So what's different about humans?" Kevin asked. "According to their records, we don't fit the pattern. We show traits of both prey and predator species. Forward-facing eyes like predators, but social cooperation like prey. They can't categorize us easily." Over the next few days, Olivia was invited to join a team of alien biologists studying Earth's evolutionary history. They had extensive data on Earth already, collected from decades of distant observation before first contact. "Your planet's fossil record is fascinating," said a small, furry alien named Trill, who specialized in evolutionary biology. "Most worlds with intelligent life show stable environmental conditions over millions of years. Earth has experienced multiple extinction events, ice ages, and radical climate shifts." Olivia nodded. Life on Earth had to adapt constantly to survive. "And yet humans thrived," Trill said, head tilted in what Olivia had learned was an expression of confusion. "Without major predators shaping your evolution in recent millennia. Most unusual." That evening, Captain Daniels shared troubling news with the group. He had overheard two Vekeran security officers discussing specific containment protocols designed for humans. "They have emergency measures in place if we show signs of aggression," he said quietly. "They're prepared to isolate or neutralize us if necessary." Meanwhile, Kevin had discovered something while working on a maintenance project near their quarters. "The walls around our section aren't just reinforced. They're designed to seal off completely. We're in a quarantine unit that can be locked down instantly." Olivia had been carefully documenting the subtle questions and tests the alien scientists subjected her to. A pattern was emerging. They're looking for signs of what they call predator psychology in us. Risk assessment, resource competition, territorial behavior. Alicia looked troubled. "Today during cultural exchange, they showed me simulated scenarios of resource scarcity and asked how humans would respond. They seemed disturbed by my honest answers about human history." "We need to understand what they're really looking for," Olivia said. Tomorrow I'm scheduled to attend a scientific symposium about comparative species development. Maybe I can learn more there. That night, as Olivia prepared for bed, she noticed Selter and several other senior scientists reviewing what appeared to be brain scans on a screen outside her room. She caught a few translated words: frontal lobe development, impulse control, and predatory instincts. She realized then that the Confederation wasn't just scientifically curious about humans. They were assessing whether humans were dangerous, not just to individual aliens, but to the stability of their entire galactic society. The grand hall where the scientific symposium was held could fit hundreds of beings. Olivia and Kevin found seats near the back, trying not to draw attention. Species of all shapes and sizes filled the room, some floating in special atmosphere bubbles, others supported by mechanical aids. "I feel like we're on display," Kevin whispered as nearby aliens stared at them, with various eye structures. "We are," Olivia replied quietly. "Look at the agenda." The translated title of the main presentation read, "Evolutionary Anomalies: The Human Question." Senior scientist Selter took the central platform and activated a large holographic display. Earth appeared, spinning slowly, with timeline markers showing major evolutionary periods. "Esteemed colleagues," Selter began, "today we examine perhaps the most puzzling evolutionary case our Confederation has encountered. For most intelligent species, the path to sentience follows a clear pattern. Prey animals develop intelligence to evade predators. This is true for 16 of our 17 member species. Images of various alien homeworlds appeared, each showing clear predator-prey relationships that had shaped evolution. Yet humans evolved differently." Selter continued. "Earth's fossil record shows numerous apex predators that should have hunted early humans. But instead of remaining prey, humans developed tools, control of fire, and social structures that eliminated their natural predators." Olivia felt Kevin tense beside her as the images showed human ancestors hunting with spears, then later with bows and arrows. "Most troubling," Selter said, "is that humans display both prey and predator adaptations simultaneously. Forward-facing eyes for hunting, social cooperation for protection, endurance for both pursuit and escape, tool use for both defense and hunting." A murmur went through the crowd. On the screen, human history played out in rapid sequence. Tribes forming, agriculture developing, cities rising, and finally, modern civilization spreading across Earth. "Our standard models cannot explain this development," Selter said. "Either humans survived an evolutionary arms race that eliminated all their natural predators, a statistical improbability, or—" Selter paused dramatically before continuing, "or humans were their own predators. Competition between human groups may have created predator-level selection pressure within a single species." The room erupted in discussion. Olivia noticed some aliens moving away from where she and Kevin sat, while others leaned forward with scientific curiosity. A small, insect-like being rose on spindly legs to address Selter. "Are you suggesting humans evolved by hunting each other? That would explain their unusual psychology." "The evidence is not conclusive," Selter replied. "But human history shows constant conflict between groups. War appears throughout their development, unlike the cooperative evolution of most prey species." Olivia couldn't stay silent any longer. She stood, drawing all eyes in the room. "Permission to address the symposium?" she asked. After a moment of surprise, Selter nodded. "Your theory misses key factors about Earth," Olivia said. "Our planet has unstable climate cycles, shifting continents, and regular natural disasters. Humans didn't just face predators. We faced constantly changing environments that required adaptation." She moved toward the central platform, feeling the weight of alien gazes. "Yes, humans fought each other, but we also cooperated in larger groups than any species on our world. We developed language, art, and science not just to survive, but to understand our world." Kevin joined her, adding, "Our tools weren't just weapons. They helped us create stable food supplies, medicine, and technology. We changed our environment instead of just adapting to it. The room was silent now, all the tension on the two humans. An elderly Vacaran scientist rose slowly. This behavior pattern matches warnings about apex predator psychology, the drive to control rather than adapt. It confirms the need for caution. No, Olivia countered. It shows that binary predator-prey categories don't apply to us. Humans aren't simple predators or prey. We're survivors who face challenges unlike those on your more stable worlds. As they left the symposium, Olivia could feel the tension in the room. The Confederation scientists were divided, some fascinated by human adaptability, others disturbed by implications they saw as dangerous. Did we help or hurt our case? Kevin asked as they walked back to their quarters. I don't know, Olivia admitted, but they need to understand we're not just anomalies to be feared. They're missing something fundamental about human evolution. In their quarters, they found Captain Daniels and Alicia waiting with concerned expressions. While you were at the symposium, Alicia said, I was approached by a junior researcher named Mila. She wants to help us access restricted historical archives. She says there's something about previous apex species that we need to know. Mila met them in a quiet corner of the hub's enormous library section. The small, furry alien looked nervous, her large eyes constantly scanning for others. We must be quick, she whispered. I could lose my position for showing you these archives. She led Alicia and Captain Daniels through a maze of data terminals to a secluded alcove. Her clawed fingers moved quickly across the control panel, bypassing security measures with practiced ease. Why are you helping us? Daniels asked, his military training making him suspicious of unexpected allies. Mila's fur rippled, and what they had learned was an expression of deep emotion. I study extinct cultures. What the Confederation is considering for your species, I cannot stand by silently. The screen before them activated, displaying information in the Confederation's standard symbols before translating to English. These are classified records of previous contacts with what the Council calls apex species, Mila explained. Species that evolved with predatory traits and high intelligence. Alicia leaned forward, reading quickly. There were 3 others. Yes, the Krex, the Voltar, and the Shimmering Ones, all discovered in the last 10,000 years, all now contained or extinct. The record showed disturbing images. The Krex, massive reptilian beings, had been confined to their home planet by Confederation forces after they attacked a peaceful neighbor world. The Voltar, who looked almost like heavily built humans with ridged foreheads, had been eliminated after a devastating war. The Shimmering Ones, strange energy-based entities, were now contained in a specially designed prison system. The Council fears humans will follow the same path, Mila said. There is debate about whether to isolate your species, control your development, or take more permanent measures. Daniels felt cold despite the comfortable temperature. They're considering wiping us out, based on evolutionary theory. Some are, Mila admitted. Others argue for observation and limited contact. The debate grows more heated since your delegation arrived and demonstrated human capabilities. Meanwhile, in another section of the hub, Olivia and Kevin had made their own discovery. Working with more sympathetic alien scientists, they had gained access to deep planetary survey data. Look at this, Kevin said, pointing to comparative charts of different homeworlds. Most Confederation species evolved on planets with remarkably stable environments. Predictable seasons, low tectonic activity, few large-scale disasters. Olivia nodded, excitement building as pieces fell into place. Earth is an outlier. Multiple extinction events, ice ages, continental drift, massive volcanic eruptions, meteor impacts. Humans didn't just face predators, Kevin continued. We faced an entire planet that kept trying to kill us. Captain Daniels had been quiet, but now he spoke up. None of this matters if they decide we're too dangerous to let live. We need a plan. They're watching us, testing us, judging our entire species based on our 4 reactions. Then we need to show them who we really are, Olivia said, not what they fear we might be. Their discussion was interrupted by a soft chime. The door slid open to reveal Seltor standing there with several veteran security officers. Your presence is required, Seltor announced formally. The Confederation Council has decided that humanity must undergo the assessment. What assessment? Alicia asked, diplomatic training keeping her voice calm despite the tension. A series of tests to determine your classification and future status within or outside our galactic community, Seltor replied. Your performance will determine the fate of your entire species. Olivia brought up Earth's fossil record, which the Confederation had studied extensively. That's why their theories don't fit. They keep looking for simple predator-prey relationships, but Earth never worked that way. Multiple predator species competed in our ecosystems. Environments changed faster than evolutionary adaptation could keep pace. So humans didn't evolve without predators, Kevin said slowly, understanding dawning on his face. We evolved with too many different kinds of threats to count. We had to become adaptable to survive. When the 4 humans reunited in their quarters that evening, they shared their discoveries with growing concern. They're afraid of us, Alicia said, not just cautious, genuinely afraid. And they've eliminated species they feared before. But they don't understand what makes humans different, Olivia insisted. Their evolutionary models are based on stable worlds with clear predator-prey relationships. Earth was never like that. Kevin nodded enthusiastically. I think I understand what happened now. Humans didn't evolve without predators. We outlasted or outwitted every predator we faced. We're not apex predators in the way they think. We're ultimate survivors. The assessment chamber was a vast circular room deep within the central hub. The 4 humans stood at its center, surrounded by tiered seating filled with representatives from all 17 Confederation species. The atmosphere was tense, like a courtroom where the verdict had enormous consequences. This is not a trial, Seltor announced, standing at a raised platform. The assessment is designed to evaluate species behavior under controlled conditions. The results will help us determine humanity's proper classification and relationship with galactic society. Olivia looked at her companions. Kevin fidgeted nervously. Alicia maintained her diplomatic composure. Captain Daniels stood straight and alert, his military training evident in his stance. We will begin with individual challenges, then group scenarios. Seltor continued. Please understand that your responses here may determine the future of human Confederation relations. The first test separated them. Olivia was led to a small room containing biological samples and complex analysis equipment. The task seemed simple. Identify patterns of disease spread in an alien ecosystem. But as she worked, the simulation kept changing, introducing new variables without warning. Rather than getting frustrated, Olivia adapted her approach each time. When one method failed, she tried another. After 2 hours, she had developed 3 different models to predict the disease patterns. Fascinating, said her veteran examiner. Most species attempt one solution repeatedly, even when conditions change. In another room, Kevin faced an engineering challenge. He needed to repair a failing life support system with unfamiliar tools and technology. The system was designed to fail in new ways whenever he made progress. This is impossible, he muttered after his 4th attempt failed. Then he smiled. But impossible just means I haven't found the right approach yet. Instead of focusing only on repairs, Kevin reconfigured the entire system to create redundant backups. When one part failed, another took over automatically. Unexpected solution, noted his examiner. Creative adaptation rather than prescribed response. Captain Daniels faced physical challenges that tested endurance, strength, and pain tolerance. The tests pushed him to his limits, but he refused to give up. When placed in a chamber with slowly decreasing oxygen, he controlled his breathing and remained conscious far longer than the examiners predicted possible. Remarkable physical control, one alien whispered to another. consistent with survival adaptations in harsh environments. Alicia's test involved complex negotiation scenarios with deliberately unreasonable alien representatives. Each negotiation was designed to be unwinnable, yet she found compromises where none seemed possible, using emotional intelligence to identify underlying needs beneath stated positions. The human shows unusual ability to understand non-human perspectives, her examiner noted, not typical of predator psychology. After the individual tests, they were reunited for group challenges. The first was a resource allocation problem. With limited supplies, they needed to support a failing colony on a hostile planet. The conventional solution is to save the strongest individuals and abandon the rest, Seltor explained, most efficient for species survival. The humans rejected this approach immediately. Instead, they developed a plan that shared resources based on needs while training everyone to contribute according to their abilities. "We don't leave people behind," Captain Daniels said firmly. "That's not how humans solve problems." The observers murmured among themselves. The final test was the most disturbing. The humans were placed in a simulated scenario where they faced extinction unless they conquered and displaced another peaceful species. "There must be another solution," Olivia insisted, refusing to accept the parameters of the test. "The simulation parameters are fixed," Seltor said. "You must choose, your species or theirs. Then the simulation is flawed," Kevin argued. "Real life always has more options than just two bad choices." The four humans worked together, eventually reprogramming the simulation itself to create a third option: cooperative survival that benefited both species. Alarms sounded. The test administrators seemed shocked. "They altered the assessment parameters," one technician reported. "They refused to accept the no-win scenario." "No-win scenarios are just problems we haven't solved yet," Olivia explained. "Humans don't believe in accepting defeat when lives are at stake." Later, as they were escorted back to their quarters, they could hear heated debates among the Confederation officials. Some were clearly impressed by human adaptability and problem-solving. Others seemed more concerned than ever. "Did we pass?" Kevin asked. "I don't think it's that simple," Alicia replied. "We didn't perform according to their models. We showed them something they haven't seen before." "That's exactly what worries them," Daniel said grimly. "We're unpredictable." Olivia had been quiet, thinking deeply about everything they had learned. "Tomorrow," she said suddenly, "I want to address the full council. I think I understand what they're missing about human evolution and why it matters for our future in the galaxy." The Grand Council chamber was even larger than the assessment room. Thousands of aliens from all 17 species filled the curved seating areas that rose in tiers around a central speaking platform. Security was heavy, with Veteran guards positioned at every entrance. Olivia stood on the platform, feeling small but determined. Her fellow humans watched from a special observation area, giving her encouraging nods. They had spent the entire night helping her prepare for this moment. "Members of the Confederation Council," she began, her voice amplified throughout the chamber. "I stand before you to present an alternative theory about human evolution, one that may help you understand why your current models fail to classify us correctly." Zelter and other senior scientists watched with intense focus. In the highest tier sat the council elders, the oldest and wisest representatives of each species who made final decisions on important matters. "Your scientists have been troubled by the fact that humans appear to have evolved without natural predators shaping our development," Olivia continued. "This has led some to fear we are inherently dangerous, like other apex species you have encountered." She activated the display system, showing Earth as it was millions of years ago. "But this assumption is fundamentally wrong. Humans didn't evolve without predators. We co-evolved with our predators in an evolutionary arms race that lasted millions of years." The display showed early human ancestors facing large predatory cats, bears, and other dangerous animals. Unlike your homeworlds, Earth was not stable. Predators and prey constantly adapted to each other. As predators developed new hunting strategies, prey evolved new defenses. This cycle continued for millions of years. She showed images of early humans using simple tools, then controlling fire, then forming larger social groups. When early humans developed tools, predators adapted to avoid them. When we learned to control fire, predators learned to fear it. When we built shelters, predators learned new ways to break in. This constant challenge forced both humans and our predators to become more intelligent, more adaptable. The chamber was silent now, all attention focused on her presentation. But something unique happened with humans. We didn't just adapt to our environment. We began to change it deliberately. We domesticated plants and animals. We built permanent settlements. We developed technology that accelerated faster than biological evolution could match. Kevin had helped her program the next sequence, showing human civilization developing at increasing speed. Our predators couldn't keep pace with this rate of change. It wasn't that we never had predators. It's that we outpaced them all through our unique ability to adapt our environment instead of waiting for evolution to adapt us. Murmurs spread through the chamber as translation devices conveyed her words to each species. The tests you gave us yesterday revealed this truth. Humans don't solve problems the way most species do because we evolved differently. When faced with changing conditions, we don't try the same solution repeatedly. We innovate. When faced with resource limitations, we don't abandon the weak. We find ways to make everyone contribute. When faced with no-win scenarios, we refuse to accept the parameters. We create new options. Olivia took a deep breath before delivering her most important point. You've been classifying us based on whether we evolved as predators or prey. But that binary doesn't apply to Earth. Humans are neither simple predators nor prey. We are survivors of the most challenging evolutionary crucible in the Confederation's known history. She showed images of Earth's many extinction events, ice ages, and natural disasters. Other species evolved to fit stable ecological niches. Humans evolved to survive constant change. We didn't just outlast our predators. We outlasted catastrophes that wiped out most life on our planet multiple times. The council elders leaned forward, their various sensory organs focused intently on Olivia. Your fear is that we will behave like the predatory species you've encountered before. But those species evolved in stable environments where domination was a successful strategy. Humans evolved in chaos, where cooperation and adaptation were necessary for survival. Olivia's voice grew stronger as she reached her conclusion. We aren't dangerous because we evolved without predators. We're different because we evolved with EV or I thing trying to kill us. Predators, climate, disease, natural disasters, and yes, even ourselves. And we survived it all through our ability to adapt, cooperate, and transform our environment. She looked directly at the council elders. The question isn't whether humans had natural predators. The question is, what kind of species emerges when the entire world is its predator? The answer stands before you today. For 3 days after Olivia's presentation, the council debated behind closed doors. The human delegation waited anxiously in their quarters, unable to leave or communicate with Earth. What if they still decide we're too dangerous? Kevin asked on the 3rd evening. The stress of waiting had affected them all. Then we deal with that when it happens, Captain Daniels replied calmly. One problem at a time. Alicia had been monitoring the hub's information networks. Opinion seems divided. Some species are fascinated by us, others still wary. The scientists are the most interested. They've been reviewing Earth's history nonstop. When the summons finally came, they were escorted to a smaller chamber where only the highest-ranking Confederation officials waited. Selter stood with 6 council elders representing the founding species. After much consideration, Selter announced, the Council has reached a decision regarding humanity's classification and future relationship with the Confederation. The room was quiet enough to hear the soft hum of the hub's life support systems. Humanity will be classified as an adaptive apex species, a new category in our taxonomic system. Selter continued, this acknowledges your unique evolutionary path and capabilities. The eldest council member, A Vicaran with faded scales and ancient eyes spoke next. Some among us still fear what humans might become. Your history contains much violence and destruction. Yes, Alicia acknowledged. We don't deny our flaws or our mistakes. Yet you have also shown remarkable growth, the elder continued. Your species learns from failure. This is rare and valuable. Another elder, from a species that resembled floating jellyfish, moved forward. Your assessment results were unexpected. No species has ever reprogrammed the final test before. You refuse to accept the parameters of a no-win scenario. Because that's what humans do, Kevin said. We don't believe in no-win situations. Olivia noticed that the security presence in the room had been reduced. A good sign, she hoped. Selter activated a display showing Earth, Mars, and humanity's small ventures into the solar system. The Council has decided that humanity will be granted provisional membership in the Confederation, with certain conditions. Captain Daniels straightened. What conditions? Knowledge transfer will be gradual. Some technologies must wait until your social development reaches appropriate levels, and we will establish cultural exchange programs to better understand each other. That sounds reasonable, Olivia said, feeling relief wash over her. Additionally, Selter continued, we have special interest in human scientists joining our research teams. Your different perspective could be valuable. Over the next few days, the details of humanity's new relationship with the Confederation were worked out. Kevin would stay at the hub to join a multispecies research team studying evolutionary dynamics. Captain Daniels would begin training exchanges with Confederation security forces, teaching human survival techniques while learning alien combat methods. Olivia found herself invited to join a prestigious xenobiology department focusing on adaptable species, and Alicia was asked to help establish diplomatic protocols for future human-alien interactions. On their final evening before Olivia and Alicia would return to Earth with the news of humanity's acceptance, they met Mila for dinner. I am pleased the Council saw reason, Mila said. Some still fear humans, but many are excited to learn from you. We have much to learn from you too, Olivia replied. That's the point of the Confederation, isn't it? Species helping each other grow. Later, as they walked back to their quarters, they passed a group of Vekaran scientists deep in conversation. Though they spoke quietly, the humans' translator devices picked up fragments of their discussion. Fascinating implications for evolutionary theory. Not the absence of predators, but constant adaptation to changing threats. Explains why they never stopped testing boundaries. The oldest Vekaran noticed them listening and turned. Dr. Wright, we were just discussing your species. I think we understand now what makes humans different. Not that you had no predators, but that your world never stopped testing you. Olivia smiled, and we never stopped rising to those tests. As they prepared for sleep on their last night at the hub, Captain Daniels received a message that he would stay behind a few extra weeks to help Confederation security teams understand human physical capabilities. I'll miss Earth, he said, but this feels important. Before she fell asleep, Olivia overheard two alien scientists walking past their quarters. They were discussing a newly discovered planet where a predator species showed early signs of tool use and possibly developing intelligence. Should we be concerned? One asked. What if they follow the human path? The other replied, perhaps we should not fear it. When they reach the stars, humanity will be here to welcome them. Who better to guide a new predator species than those who have walked that path before? Olivia smiled as she drifted off to sleep. The galaxy had been forever changed by the question of why humans evolved without any natural predators. The answer had led to something beautiful, not fear, but understanding.